Welcome to Massive Beers. My name is Matt. We do the beer stuff here, and a little bit of experimental hazy up in this piece in the form of Pariah Brewing's I've Got an Idea number 3. Pariah Brewing used to be out of San Diego and now out of Baltimore. They send beers off quite often. These came from them. Let's dive into it. Story time. They like their words on the back. It says, I've got an idea, number 3, Hazie IPA. What you're holding is part 3 in our exploratory series of IPA. The goal of this series is to explore, evaluate how manipulating processes and injecting new ingredients into our repertoire affects our unique malt base, our unique base IPA. The purpose is to deepen our understanding of how slight or large tweaks affect the end results to continue evolving and improving our skills as brewers. Part 3 uses solely utilizing a yet-to-be-named hop dubbed HBC-586 over our colors malt bill. So they're taking our colors base malt bill, throwing this experimental hop on top of it. HBC-586 is described as a large medley of fruit flavors, largely mango, guava, lychee, and citrus. Front hop, no doubt, and we look forward to utilizing it more in the future. So you're talking about something leaning heavily tropical. Colors to malt base. I couldn't speak to it. I've had it. I don't remember. So we're just going to dive in. One of the more unique kind of art designs when it comes to Pariah, they usually are a little bit more kind of sharper, graphical, not as like a pencil or paint art driven. I dig this. There's something about it. It has like a mixture between like surrealism and like maybe like a Tribe Called Quest kind of album cover kind of art, even though there's very distinct that red, orange, black. It has that kind of vibe to it, at least for me. So yeah, let's dive in. I got this yesterday. Like I said, came courtesy of Pariah. Been sitting in my fridge, actually. It's a little dark. I've gotten a couple oxidized IPAs from them before, so we'll see what's what, because that is very, very dark. So it's been sitting in the fridge for 24 hours, so I'm just diving right into it. So, like I said, I dig the art design. Man, you know, knee-jerk, I'm just saying, definitely comes off like an oxidized IPA. You're talking about, a new school hazy. You definitely don't want it to be this kind of... It's very much... What's that color? If I'm going to kind of call this a specific color, I don't even know what to call it. Like honey. It comes off like natural honey. I mean, honey can vary in color quite a bit, but it has that kind of vibe to it. You know, big, nice, off-white, creamy head. Let's just dive in and nose, see what's what. Yeah, I think we're dealing with an oxidized beer again. It really just has a kind of almost like a soft, like mango, actually stone fruitiness to it, but very much muted, nothing too crazy. I'm not getting anything like a precursor to like a huge wet paper bag kind of oxidative thing in it, but it feels like a muted kind of hop presence, and there's a nice sweetness to it. Yeah, there's a nice kind of a malty sweetness with like almost like a touch of lactose or a heavy oat addition. And then it's done and done. Not a negative nose by any stretch of imagination. Just smells like there's something more to it that is just not there any longer. If that makes any sense. I'm just going to dive in. Cheers, y'all. Yeah, it's not a bad beer by any stretch. You know, it's got a slight bittering component to it. You get this kind of fruity component that is very much like, for me, just a mashup of a stone fruit, tropical fruit kind of combination. A nice sweetness to it with that touch of like lactose / heavy oat addition to it, and done and done. It's 6.5%. It's not supposed to be a huge beer by any stretch of the imagination. And there's nothing here to kind of speak to an overt negative to it. Slight dryness to it, I think, is kind of just that oxidative state of the beer kind of coming through on it. I just think it could be more. You know, you give this to me in its original state, you give this to me on draft. I think there's something more to this beer than meets the eye. I don't think it's a matter of this is the way the beer is supposed to be, and it's just kind of like, okay, it has kind of drips and drabs of something that'd be really, really cool. I just think Oxygen has done this beer infinitely dirty in a very, very negative way. I don't know what else to say other than that. I kind of want to drink the whole thing to see if I can pull anything out of it, but that's obviously not going to be on video. Probably throw this back in the fridge, try to get it really cold and see if something kind of comes from there. it's just, you know, this is probably a better conversation to have is the oxidative issues of having Pariah beers. Is it on them? Is it on transit? You know, their beers don't take super long to get here. You know, they're in Baltimore. They ship them out. I usually get them in a couple days. But, you know, we are in the throes of probably, no, not probably, the hottest stretch in the history of the Earth. That's not hyperbole. That's fact. Like, you know, like last week, because, you know, global warming is not real, or let me rephrase that. Man-influenced global warming isn't real, obviously. Idiots. But, like, last week, the 4th of July weekend, like every 20 years or so, like, we break the record for the hottest day in the history of the Earth. Like, globally, like, they average out, you know, the Earth as far as the average mean temperature of the Earth, and that's what I mean by the hottest day. You know, and, you know, like every 20 or 30 years, it kind of gets broken, in recorded history, I should say. And, you know, it's kind of one of those things where every now and then, oh, we broke the record. It happened like 7 days in a row? Last week or something like that? Like something, at least 4, more than that. I stopped getting count because of how insane it was. So is it a transport issue? Is it a negative oxygen issue? I'm probably assuming both of those are the case. There's no date in the can, so I can't sit here and be like, hey man, this is a really old beer. But Pariah sending it, so I assume it's good to go. I assume they crack a can of these before they send them. So I'm kind of leaning into it's getting cooked. Because, man, there's probably something good here. It's very, very, very tempered. And very, very reserved from, you can taste the amount of hops that are in here. The actual hop saturation, there's almost like it's not stinging, but that bitterness has this kind of impact on your tongue that is more like, oh, this thing is hop to the nines kind of thing. And it's just not coming off that way, actually, in the taste. And the only way I can kind of speak to that is oxidation. Now, the reason why I lean towards transit being an issue on this also is it's probably a combination of the beer style and transit. There's not a huge oxidative negativeness here. Now, if I let this beer sit for another couple weeks, I think it kind of takes hold and the beer's completely gone. But I think it just got shocked to shit. And while it's definitely oxidized, it's not showing the telltale signs of what you typically get from oxidative, the wet paper bag, kind of ultra dryness, those kind of things. Really muted everything. Mouthfeel here is really lush. It's usually something that typically dies quite often with a decent amount of oxidation. So I think it's been oxidated quite quickly most recently. Let's put it that way. And mouthfeel is still there. Not, I wouldn't say lush, but nice. You know, that the hop presence is there. The malt, the way it comes off, that touch of pseudo-lactose, very tasty stuff. I feel like there's more to it. I really do feel like there's more to this beer, and it could be a bit more vibrant, and has to do with oxidation. How it got there, I don't know. But, you know, Brian sends these off for honest opinions, and that's what I'm doing. Here we go. And it's been a couple beers, so it's not like a one-off kind of thing. Happens every now and then with Pariah. So there's either a shipping or temperature or process, and I'm assuming probably a bit of all of those kind of culminate in what's going on here. So there you go. Really unfair to even be like it's one of the better Hazies I've had as late. Just skip all that stuff and just talk about Pariah. Have you had their beers? If you have you had oxidation issues with them? Have you had stellar results, mediocre results? Have you had great West Coast, mediocre East, vice versa? How has that brewery, if you've had a bunch of their beers, how have they treated you from your end of things, from the purchaser side of things? There you go. A review in the books. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hopefully you're enjoying East Coast Haze right now. Hopefully see you next time. Cheers, y'all.